So today I actually decided to film a very different video, which I normally don't. And as you guys can see, I am in my kitchen. I'm going to make potato wedges, which I usually make, and they're very user friendly, very easy to make. But if you're not habitual of cooking, they're not going to come easy to you. If you can't cook, just forget about it. Just eat regular fries from like a frozen bag or something. Don't make these if you can't cook. So I'll show you guys what to do. So in a pot, I have some water. I put the water to boil, and I have 3 potatoes. I'm going to leave the skin on. Okay, and I'm gonna slice them into wedges. Okay, so you guys can see that I have the potatoes on here. I'm going to leave the skin on and just cut them very easily. Now this is my favorite knife, by the way. I really love this knife. It's very easy, and as you can see that I don't spend very long slicing these. It's just this simple for me, and that's what I do. Very easy. I don't try to make things hard for me, and I'll just put them in the water that I showed you. Okay, so I successfully sliced all of them, and they're not perfect. Obviously, they're not going to be perfect either. They're just going to be like some big or some small because they're just uneven potatoes. I'm gonna throw them in the water. So I have some salt. And you have to put just the right amount. Now, you can actually determine the amount of salt by yourself. So till my potatoes are boiling, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a cornstarch bath for my sweet potatoes. They're not sweet, they're cute. I'm going to make a bath, cornstarch bath for my potatoes. I'll show you. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball the cornstarch bath, and I think to coat like 3 potatoes. This is the amount of cornstarch I think I'll need. So I'll make like a slurry or a bath, whatever you want to call it. And just okay, the other thing I do is I also put in some chili because we're Pakistani and we love our red chili because we're crazy like that. Water. I don't want a thick paste because then my potatoes aren't actually gonna take a bath in it. They're gonna stick to it. So I don't want my potatoes sticking to the starch. I just want my potatoes to take a bath in them. About this consistency, and if you need more, you can always make more, but make sure that your consistency remains the same. You can always make more if you want. So I'm going to put this to the side and wait for my potatoes. I am going to put this aside and wait for my potatoes to be somewhat boiled. So my potatoes are boiling. I've already prepared my starch solution, cornstarch solution that is. The other thing that I want to put on my potatoes, on my veggies rather, is garlic butter. So I'm going to show you how I make it. It's very easy. Just throw some butter in the pan, some garlic. I don't personally have garlic cloves right now, so I'm just going to throw in some garlic powder and some Italian seasoning. I'm just going to show you the kind of powder I have. This is the kind of powder that I have, and I also have some pizza seasoning. Now you'd be thinking like, why is she putting pizza seasoning in the garlic butter for veggies? But I'm telling you, this is going to be fantastic. It has some Parmesan cheese in it actually, along with some oregano and other like Italian herbs and spices. So that's what I put in my garlic butter. I think you should try it too because it's amazing. I didn't know that these two flavors, like potatoes and Italian seasoning, went together, but when I actually tried it was really good. So I'm going to show you how. So I've put this really small pan on the heat and I'm going to put some butter in it. I think that's enough. Maybe a bit more, because it's never enough. And what I like to do is I like to put some olive oil in it, not that much, because if I put a lot of it, my mom's gonna kill me. So just a little olive oil, because everybody knows how expensive olive oil is these days. Just let it melt a little for a bit, just let it melt, and then put in your powder, which by the way is now in chunks for some reason, which is very annoying. Now that it's melted, I'm just going to put in the big chunk and hope that it would melt. It's time for the Italian spices. I'm going to put some of them in. I'm actually going to turn the stove off now because I don't want to burn them or deflavor them. So there you go. And then you give it like a little stir, and that's all. If you want some salt in it, of course you can throw some salt in there, but I have already put the salt in my water. So if I would need some salt, I'll put in the salt additionally. I'm not going to put it anywhere in the recipe. Like in the middle of the recipe, I'm not going to put in any salt. So that's your garlic butter. That is your garlic butter. So you need to check if they are adequately softened. Just pull one out. First of all, if it like seems to be softened enough, you would be able to see like a rim around it. It should be a bit wider. So I can see that there's a whiter rim around this. So it must be done. And I'm also going to poke it. And if it goes in easy, that means it's done. You don't need to overcook it, otherwise you won't be able to. Otherwise, actually, what would happen is if you overcook it, if you overcook your potatoes, they are gonna just wither away in the solution, the starch solution. So don't overcook them. Your potatoes there. And this is the part where you have to get your hands dirty. Okay. So you just move them around a little bit. Make sure that they're coated. And in the meantime, my oil is sizzling. And I'm just going to let it sit for maybe 2 minutes so that the starch can actually coat all of them. It's still pretty hot. I don't want to break them. I'm just going to move them around and lightly fold and turn them. Oil and pan and medium-high flame. That's all you need. Now you need to check if your wedges are actually sizzling. Just put one of the wedges in, and that's all. It is sizzling, but it still needs, the temperature still needs to like rise up a little bit. So give it a minute or so that the temperature could actually be adequate enough to put in the veggies. Okay, so the temperature is adequate enough. Now, one by one, I'm going to introduce the veggies in there. For the people who think that I can't cook, they're wrong. I can cook really well. And it's not just veggies, like I can cook a lot of things. Jiggle them up, make some other, jiggle them and make room for the other veggies. I'm just going to fry them till 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'm going to take them out and then refry them. Why, you ask? Because you need them to be crispy. And if you want them crispy, you have to double fry them. That's a necessity. They're just ready to be out. I'm not going to brown them completely. I'm just going to make them rest for a bit. And then put the other ones inside. They would stick to themselves a little bit, but they can be separated. They are in the pan for the second time now. And that is how they look. I have put the garlic butter on them. And as you can see, they are slightly more golden than your fries would be. But they're soft in the middle and crispy. You can see they're very crispy on the outside, so very soft in the middle, crunchy on the outside, very delicious.